Hey, Billy Ephardt here, and I'm with my partner in Tricord Global, David Briggs. And David, we've been over here, right? And we're out here in Nachifuma. That we learned that K is said CH, so it's Nachifuma. We're out here in Uganda, in Africa, and David, we've been interviewing. You've been doing some great interviews with clients. And what are your observations today, just in what you've seen?
Well, what I appreciate, Bill, is that one thing that's really come to mind to me is that it's not just coming to Tricord and we have money, we deploy it, but what's really important in the synergy of our partnerships and relationships is to have key partners on the ground.
Right.
Like Genesis and our
Genesis
Sacos,
Microfinance and our bank, Glotrans in Kampala, Uganda.
Because they are the real stewards that manage those funds to get the most production out of the investment in the dollars, with not only placement of capital, vetting loans, but a tremendous amount of training to see that at this level of business and training, they really get true business training that causes their business to grow and not fail.
Absolutely. And I think, one of the things that happens to us, especially in Western countries and specifically to us in the U.S., is there are many places that somebody can, what we would call, invest your money or put your money to work. But the truth of the matter is, what kind of difference are your investments making? So most people, David, they just look at investments from one side. They look at the return that they get on the investment, but not necessarily the kind of place they're investing in, whether it's stocks or bonds, and what's being done with that money. In our case, we're deploying the money that's invested with Tricord Global. We're deploying that money to help people really in Africa, and now we're expanding to other parts of the world.
Yeah, and I think what's important to realize is that when we talk about change or we talk about transformation, it's usually incremental.
Right.
And with focus, instead of doing a lot, and there's a lot of good charitable works, there's a lot of good NGO works. I'm not sliding that at all. That do some immediate things that give immediate relief.
Right.
But what it doesn't really do is what we call in kingdom building or nation building.
Right.
It doesn't really put in the indigenous arena of the communities the ability for people to be empowered to become those that are civically responsible in their own communities. They become the leaders, the mayors, the business owners.
Absolutely.
That begin to change the community, and they get into the gateways of influence. And it just, whether it's education or business or the church world or whatever it is, they become the major influencers that really mold society. And
right.
So for true lasting change to come, and where that cascades to, the better that you help people develop their communities, the more understanding you're going to have, the less likelihood of wars and riots. In other words, you're making an impact that directly comes back and impacts our own community, because we truly live in a global village.
Right.
And what we do affects not only what we do there, but it also in turn affects what we are responsible for back in our own country as well.
So really the impact you're having, it's like throwing a pebble on the water and the waves just continue, the ripples just continue to go. That's what happens when people make investments with us. And so it's so exciting to see. And really, I want to say this one last thing with this, is that really one of the things you and I have learned, now both of us are only 39 years old,
I'm a young man.
Wink, wink, but we want you to know that over the years that we've had, you've been coming to Africa since the early 1980s. Right? And I've been coming for a long time, probably 25, 30 years. What we've seen in nations, we've seen Africa develop. It's really becoming an emerging economy, and it's not just that we're having an impact on people's lives. We are, and phenomenal impact, but also it's a good investment as well, just generally speaking. And so I think the thing that I want to encourage you with, is especially investors and partners, is that the impact you're making, and then back in the U.S., you actually receive a return on that investment. And so David and I want to say thank you to all of our partners and investors that have made what we do in Tricord Global a possibility. And so this is Billy Ephardt, David Briggs, and we'll see you right back here on another video. Bye-bye.